In this video, I will attempt to briefly introduce anyone to the universe of Sunless Sea. I will begin with a small introduction to the game itself, and then an introduction to its surface level lore and world building, just to give you a bit of a feel of both. Let's start with the following premise. Unless you enjoy reading, particularly works of fiction, then this is not the game for you. It's a harsh thing to say out loud, but I feel that the amount of text this game contains is the primary reason of why so many people cannot get properly into it. Some may say that this is the game's difficulty at blame here, that the game poses far too much of a challenge to appeal to casual audiences, but I heavily doubt for that to be the case. After all, a proper challenge was never a reason for casual gamers to shy out of an experience. Just look at the success the Souls series has, which, yes, while it could be argued that the games themselves are not especially hard, they have a certain learning curve which may discourage beginners. In that regard, Sunless Sea does not pose a challenge related to one's skill. It is in fact similar to the difficulty approach that Fear and Hunger takes. Every time you boot up the game and begin a new run, it is not your ability to mash buttons really fast or to build and develop proper reflexes, muscle memory or quick thinking that is being tested. Rather, it's your knowledge and ability to learn from your mistakes. You will fail, undoubtedly, many times, but each failure is, in its own way, a small success, as the lesson you hopefully learn out of it will help you achieve better and better results each time. That is the way of the Untersee. The game begins unlike many others. Usually when it comes to objectives or goals, games provide either one of the two. A final well-established goal from the beginning, which you will follow through the game's tailored story, something usually tied to action or adventure games, or perhaps no goal is provided. The world is your oyster to do with as you please. This is something typical of sandbox or exploration games, which, while they might have a certain goal to strive for, the final objective is represented by what you, yourself, set up in your mind. Sunless Sea is perhaps in the middle of that. At the beginning, you are provided with 4 goals along with 2 hidden ones, which you will have to pick one from. That goal will dictate what the condition for winning the game will be, and unlike any other game I've ever played, achieving a draw is also possible, an ending where you won't lose, but you won't win either. Which goal you choose at the beginning is also the factor that will dictate the approach you should have towards the game. The first goal is the simplest and most shallow one. Wealth. You know how it is to be poor. Now you want a mansion, servants, fine clothes, a family perhaps. The endgame goal is as simple and as clearly spelled out as possible. In order to win, you will need money. Lots of it. Simple as that. This goal encourages a playstyle of repetition, of self-improvement and optimization. You will study trade routes to find the most efficient and profitable merchandise to peddle. You will take notes of the cost of products, where to properly sell them, which monsters to hunt for the best loot in order to harvest their body parts as merchandise, and you will continuously strive to embetter yourself and your ship. The more knowledge you gain, the more opportunities to earn money you will discover. The more you upgrade your ship, the more cargo you will be able to carry for a profit. The more you upgrade your guns, the greater the foes you will be able to slay in order to sell their heads, hearts, and teeth for profit. The second goal is fulfillment. Money is not your final goal, but it will be required to achieve it. You are to gather 100 tales, learn all you can of the Sea, write a masterpiece, and retire. For you to win the game, you will be required to create a specific item called the Song of the Sea, a book detailing anything and everything the Sea has to offer, from its majestic visages to its darkest and most perilous secrets. This goal will encourage exploration and a trial and error approach, as many of the items required to create this book will require lengthy experimentation. A arduous goal for any newcomer, but as per the objective's name, a fulfilling one nonetheless. Once you completed this goal, you will probably be able to claim that you have seen most of what this game and its universe had to offer. The third goal is your father's bones. Your father was lost at sea. You never knew him, but you've often dreamed of him. Find and return his remains to London for decent burial. This is a goal that will focus a more story-based approach to the game. You won't see everything the Sea has to offer, but you will be given step-by-step objectives as you progress through the story. The fourth goal, immortality. Similarly to your father's bones, this is a story-focused objective. Your goal is to obtain eternal life, and while it won't be spelled out clearly how you will manage such a feat, you will receive hints that will hopefully guide you further through this journey. The remaining two hidden objectives or win conditions are of no concern to you if you're a new player, but you will stumble upon them eventually, and they will function as alternate triggers to declare victory. To any new and unexperienced player, I will suggest you pick the wealth goal. It is simple yet clear. While the goal is shallow in nature, the way you can obtain it is in fact far less restrictive and more open than the rest. After all, you decide how you want to become rich. Are you going to be a criminal, a monster hunter, a well-respected trader, an adventurer, or perhaps a mercenary, continuously seeking new quests in exchange for wealth and glory? Perhaps you will start working under the government, siding with one of the major forces of the Untersea, building a respectable spy network over the nations as you collect bits and pieces of intelligence in order to gain leverage over others as you navigate the complicated political intrigues of this world. Regardless, by the time you achieve this goal, you will have most likely learned enough about the game, its mechanics, and its inner workings to dedicate yourself to other goals, which might have seemed too overcomplicated at first. But today, I'm not here to provide a guide on how to play the game. I'm not here to suggest the most optimal trade routes, the best strategies to fight enemies, or the location of secret weapons. Today, I'm here to provide a simple and mostly spoiler-free introduction into the world of Sunless Sea. A world so beautifully and uniquely written that has managed to captivate me for a long time. Welcome to the Sea. I think that one of the best elements to introduce someone to the universe of Sunless Sea are some of its locations. I'm not going to go in detail over every single island, nation, and location and their whole history, but I will showcase a few important ones that I believe play a big role in the universe of Sunless Sea, starting with the Neath. The Neath is essentially the world's map, or rather, the world beneath the world. You see, Sunless Sea takes place within what can best be described as a massive cavern located beneath the Mediterranean. A cavern so massive to the point of holding its very own ocean, referred to as the Untersea. The Untersea is located between two large continents, a nondescript continent on the west, where fallen London is located, and another one to the south, the Elder Continent, with an array of large glaciers to the north. It is important to note that the Neath, and the Untersea especially, they are far more peculiar than one would imagine at first. For one, they do not abide to the laws and physics which the surface world is tethered to, especially geographically. Some islands or locations will seemingly shift in place, disappearing and reappearing somewhere else entirely. Something not directly observed, and yet a process that has undoubtedly been reported before. Given that the Untersea is located in a large cavern, there is rarely any wind. Because of that, the sailors, or the sailors as they like being referred to, make use of steam-powered engines or rowboats in order to navigate the sea. Sails are, after all, useless without wind. Another peculiar aspect of the sea is that death isn't always the end. Drowning at the sea, for example, will never be something permanent. You will become a drownie, or explained in a simpler term, a water zombie. Drownies will be changed by that experience, and they are the de facto sirens or mermaids of the Untersea. When the crew of a ship will become afflicted by fear and panic, the drownies will be attracted to that like moths to a flame, attempting to drag any sailor beneath the waves to join them either through force or through their singing, which will urge but the strongest-willed man to jump and join them. The drownies do not act chaotically or out of their own accord. Their leader is the Fathom King, the ruler of the drownies, which endlessly floats in his throne. Dangerous, unpredictable, but open to trading, as the Fathom King immensely relishes a good story or an interesting piece of information or trivia which he will pay handsomely for. Otherwise, the Fathom King has been known for its ability to return people to life, for a price. But for now, let's talk more about what is perhaps the most important place within the Neath, Fallen London. Fallen London is a large city, and one of the largest forces contending for control over the Neath. In all regards, Fallen London is essentially the very city of London, which, once belonging to the surface, is now located in the Neath. How that came to be was the result of Queen Victoria. In 1861, as Albert of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, Prince Consort of the United Kingdom, died out of a grave sickness, his wife, Queen Victoria, was visited by a group of mysterious individuals wearing long cloaks. They offered to the Queen an exchange, the City of London for her husband's life, which she accepted, causing the entirety of the City of London to be swallowed by an immensely large cloud of bats, dragging it beneath the earth and into the Untersee, landing on top of another city, previously located where Fallen London is now, completely crushing it, with only one building remaining intact, a large conglomeration of black spires, which the cloaked figures refer to as the Echo Bazaar, of which they were its masters. With the government referring to the Queen as Her Enduring Majesty, and with the population referring to her as the traitor Empress, the politics of Fallen London have become unsurprisingly complicated. With the Queen keeping to herself in her palace, the masters of the bazaar could be considered unofficial rulers of Fallen London, or at the very least, important figures, as their orders are law, a power which they do not abuse, but rather make use of to impose trade regulations and ban diverse dangerous goods from the Neath, such as red honey, a type of honey made by bees sucking people's memories from their brains, allowing the consumers of red honey to relieve the victims' memories. The next important location within the Untersee is Hell, quite literally, Hell itself, populated by devils. Human in appearance, devils are great schemers who will attempt to take your soul through any chance given to them. Previously ruled by a monarchy, Hell is now led by an endless system of bureaucracy, stamps, and legally binding documents, with the old aristocratic leaders now leading a new government called the Brimstone Convention. Now, Hell majorly trades in two goods, human souls and fuel, being the main exporter of coal and sulfur and the main importer of human souls, a trade which, despite being legal in Fallen London, is now strictly regulated, with each crate of human souls requiring proper stamps and authorizations, only serving to raise the value of unstamped crates of brilliant souls, an illegal trade good considered contraband within Fallen London. Despite their vast bureaucracy, Hell has interfered many times with the rest of the denizens of the Neath, perhaps leaving the greatest impact upon the Iron Republic, a state which Hell brought complete freedom to, abolishing any and all laws, including the laws of nature, such as the law of gravity, essentially allowing people within the Iron Republic to just float at will. The odd passing of time within the Iron Republic, the impossibility of the events happening within it, and the risks associated with spending days within it, make compiling informations and reports about it a challenging task, with most reports coming from the Iron Republic often being either complete gibberish or confusing at best. The tomb colonies, located north of Fallen London, are a place of rest, essentially an extremely large retirement house. As death isn't always permanent within the Neath, people can grow extremely old and frail, to the point of resembling mummies, damaged, scarred, but wise and extremely experienced. Tomb colonists are some of the oldest denizens within the Untersee. Polythreme, an island ruled by the King with 100 Hearts, is perhaps one of the most peculiar locations in all of the Neath. Within Polythreme, everything is alive, including mundane objects or buildings. Polythreme is vastly known for its production of claymen, loyal servants capable of obeying any order, working tirelessly for their masters until their death, never requiring food, water, or sleep. But beware of the unfinished clayman, as not every clayman is created perfectly, and the unfinished ones, sometimes indistinguishable from their regular brothers, can harbor malice towards others, a malice which they won't think twice to display in a violent manner. The Khanate, London's greatest rival, is a Mongolian-themed nation. Distrusting of foreigners, heavy on their taxes, and always vigilant, the Khanate and its population heavily dislike Londoners. As the Khanate has been part of the Neath for far longer than Fallen London, They believe of them to be outsiders, men from the surface, thus harboring heavy distrust and animosity towards them. The last location I would like to mention is the Crimean Canal, the only known passage from the Untersee to the surface. Any daring captain, with great expense, can make use of the Crimean Canal to reach the surface, visiting cities such as Naples or Vienna. But beware, the citizens of the Neath have spent one too many years untouched by the sun, to the point of sunlight being in fact dangerous for them. Unbearably hot, pleasantly warm, and sunny to the point of being deadly. The surface is a splendid vision for many, one which may cost their very life, as the sunlight can be as addictive as it is deadly. You wouldn't be wrong to assume that sunlight within the Untersee is a sought product, as many captains, through the use of mirror catch boxes, are capable of trapping sunlight, smuggling it back within the Untersee to be sold to the highest bidder. I hope you enjoyed this short introduction to the universe of Sunless Sea. There are obviously many locations and interesting things to talk about left within its world, but I purposefully decided to leave most of them out, presenting only the locations I found to be the most interesting. While I would personally advise you to check the game out for yourself and finding these details out one by one, you can leave a comment down below letting me know if you'd like more videos on the subject and for me to further cover the lore and the universe of Sunless Sea. If you are a more experienced player or far more knowledgeable in this universe, then I would like to ask you to keep the comments spoiler free for the rest who haven't had a chance to explore this unique realm by themselves. As always, I would like to thank this channel's members for their support. If you would like to join them, you can do so through the join button down below. With this being said, I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more similar content in the future, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a good night.